Hi everyone, welcome back to a new video. If you're new here, my name is Gemma and me and my fiance James share sort of behind the scenes of our vintage clothing reselling business. So start of a new week, so it's Monday today. I'm just about to pack up an order that we got over the weekend last night. So I'm just going to show you what I'm packing up just now. And if you watched our last video, you would have heard that we are patiently waiting on our new stock getting delivered. We were meant to have gotten it delivered on Friday, however FedEx have now updated the delivery date to today. So fingers crossed we'll actually get our new stock today. Was meant to come between 10 and 2. But it's now after 2 o'clock and they've updated it again saying that we'll hopefully get it before 6 o'clock. So I'm really hoping that we get our new stock today so that we can start sorting through it and everything like that, and obviously get it up, things up for sale. So yes, I'm just going to show you what I'm going to be packing up just now, and then obviously take you through the week, let you see what we got up to this week. And I think after I've taken this down to post this item, we're actually going to build up a little kind of, I don't know if it's a shelving unit or like a little storage unit thing that James bought online that we're going to hopefully put our new stock into, because our new stock, most of it is smaller items, so things like purses, wallets, things like that. So that should all neatly kind of store those things away so that they're not kind of taking up too much room in the flat. So this is the item that we just sold. So it's a vintage Ralph Lauren quarter zip. So it's black, as you can see it's got the little Ralph Lauren kind of logo on the chest there. It's quite a soft knit, it's not one of the sort of chunky knit quarter zips. So just sold that, so I'm just about to package that up and I'll take that down to get that posted off and then come back and try and build up this shelving unit. Look what's arrived, eventually. Got our new stock. That's very cool. That was in the box.
But that's cool as hell, though.
Yeah. So pleased with how everything is all individually packed. Like everything's all wrapped in bubble wrap and then wrapped in like a plastic wrapper as well.
But Japan just works differently.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
It's so, yeah, they've taken a lot of care packing this. Hi again, so it's a few days later since we last caught up with you. I think the last time we were sharing things, we had just gotten delivered our new stock, so that's been really exciting. So we have kind of just had a quick look through of everything, make sure everything's there, make sure that it's all the sort of the quality that we've been looking for. There's no any pieces that have got anything wrong with it, and everything's good, so that's great. So today we're actually going to be photographing some of our new pieces of stock to then list onto our online store and things, so we'll kind of show you how we go about doing that. And we're just about to send off another piece that we sold, take it down to post it off today. And we sold something else, we sold something else a couple of days ago, can't remember what it was. Yeah, it will come to me later. But yeah, so I'm just going to quickly show you what we're packing up just now, and then we'll show you how we got on with photographing our new pieces. This is a piece that we've just sold, so it's a vintage Broncos, I think the team, the Denver Broncos I think it is, full zip hoodie. So it's got like an orange hood on the inside, as you can see there, and it's got the Broncos text across the front. So again, really nice quality piece, nice thick hoodie. I think it's a women's one as well, so those ones are always a little bit trickier to sell because I feel like men's wear can be unisex, so obviously men and women can wear it, whereas a lot of the time women's wear is because it's that bit smaller made, usually it is obviously only really appeals to women, so quite glad to get this one sold. So yeah, just about to pack this up. I also thought I would just quickly share some of the pieces that I've made using that shirt that I was sort of practicing making things with our new sewing machine. So in our last video I made a pair of shorts out of a shirt that James didn't want anymore, but it was a really nice like kind of floral fabric. It was really pretty and really good, nice thick cotton as well. So I've actually made a couple of other things. So I'm just kind of practicing doing little, I suppose, trials of different items that I can make, just to kind of see what I enjoy making and what I actually do a decent job of, so that if we do end up going down the route of repurposing like vintage fabrics, then I do actually have a few things that I can make quite well that we can then sell on. So I've got the shorts here, but I've actually made a few other things as well, which I'll just kind of quickly show you. So these are the shorts that I kind of shared last week. So I've had a good little look at them, and I think I mentioned last week how I thought I kind of made them maybe a bit wrong, like maybe put two front pieces together, but when I've looked at them I actually think they're okay. But what I think I've done wrong is I made them a little bit longer than the shorts that I was kind of tracing round, and I think that's why they're maybe sitting a little bit off. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to trim the length so that I'm just taking maybe like an inch off or something, so they are actually the length of the shorts that I traced, and see if that makes them sit better, because I kind of turned them up and it did feel better. So I think we're going to have a go with that just to see if I can get them to fit a little bit better. And then other things that I made was a little scrunchie, which I think has turned out really well. So again, with the floral fabric, and I added some black lace to it as well. And I actually think this is my second scrunchie that I've made, and I'm actually really happy with it. I made it a little bit differently from the one that I made previously, and this is definitely a much easier process. So I'm definitely be making some more of these. Maybe even look at quilting some of the fabric before making it into a scrunchie. And then I've made a couple other things as well. So I've made a little tester of a bookmark, and I was just trying out like quilting the fabric. So I've actually quilted it with quite small squares, as you can see there, and then added some lace. Bit of a mistake there that I would probably do differently is to obviously use a white thread rather than black thread to add the lace on. But again, it's just a tester just to see how easy it was to actually make. But that was quite straightforward, so I'll probably use that actually for a little bookmark for myself. And then a little coaster. So this was just more to test out the different way of quilting. So I decided to do a bit of a diagonal quilt, and really like how that's turned out on the fabric. And then obviously made it into like a little square shape. Again, I think I need to practice more at these two things just to make the sides and the corners a bit sharper. Taken some photographs of our new stock just now. So James is away putting some of the bits away in its storage that we photographed. So I just kind of wanted to quickly share how we kind of go about taking photos, and like what I think is probably quite a good idea to do. So I've just got one of the pieces here. I'll just grab it just now. So we've got one of the Chanel sort of wallets here. So I'm just going to quickly show you the different kind of angles and the different kind of like sort of parts of the sort of item that we photograph, just to make sure that we're sharing everything with our potential customers. So when we're photographing, I normally try and photograph a few different positions, like position like that, up and down, and then almost like a slanty one, just so that people can get an idea of what it looks like sort of in real life. And then with these kinds of pieces like wallets and bags and things, I always take photographs of the corners, because that's always an area, usually if there's any wear and tear, that's kind of where it will show. And then obviously we take photographs of any logos, any details, any trims or anything like that, as well as some close-up photographs of the zips, especially if it's got the brand name on it as well. The next thing I do is I take photographs of all the inside sections. So like this wallet, there's like multiple sections. So what I try and do is like spread it open as best as possible, take a photograph inside, even these little wallet sections here, just so that people can see the condition. And again, if there's any, I think it's on this side actually, any brand names or anything like that inside, so we've got the Chanel name and logo there, take photographs of that. And then any sections that are zipped up as well, I sort of try and show the zipped sections both zipped up and unzipped. And for example, this wallet here, it's actually missing the little zip pull, but it still works perfectly. So I do show anything that's missing or any sort of imperfections on the item as well, and obviously include that in the description. Another thing that we try and do is try and take our photographs in natural light. So today it's actually a bit of a rubbish day for it because it's not sunny, it's quite dull. So I have had to turn up the brightness on the camera quite bright, but now it's getting to the point in the day where we're kind of like really having to turn up the brightness on the camera, and I don't like doing that. I much prefer having as natural light as possible. So I've done quite a few wallets for today, so I think we'll kind of leave it there. We've also done the items of clothing that we've got, so that's great. So those should hopefully get listed with the purses and things that we've done today. Try and get some of that done tonight, so that's quite exciting. So it's a few days later now, and we're actually at the end of the week at the weekend. So last couple of days, well, Thursday I think it was, we had a little bit of a day off. We always try and have like one day off where we're not doing anything work related, and we headed into town and went to this nice little place called Brunswick Book Club for some lunch and a couple of drinks. And it was actually really lovely because it was nice and sunny, but it was still very autumn, like the leaves and everything like that, so really enjoyed that. So now it's the weekend, I'm going to be finishing uploading a lot of the photos that we took a couple of days ago of some of our items. So we've not finished photographing everything, we've just kind of done a few things, some of the purses and the clothing. So I've managed to get some stuff up on Vinted, Depop, our website and eBay. So we're going to try all 4 platforms, and we'll kind of let you know how we got on. If you watched our last video where we were talking about what we thought of the different platforms, you might go and check that out because you might find that useful if you've not seen it. But for eBay, that's the one that we're kind of adding on. So so we're trying out adding everything to eBay as well as the other 3. So today I'm just going to finish editing this video, get that up on YouTube, and I'll probably list a few different things as well that we've not listed yet. So I'll kind of show you what we kind of put into our descriptions, because I've found that it's really useful to be as descriptive as possible. So earlier on in the video I mentioned about what parts of things that I take photographs of, making sure that we photograph all the different areas of the item, as well as any flaws or imperfections, as well as the labels and all that kind of stuff. And I'll kind of include, I'll talk about what we actually put in the descriptions as well. Even though we still get questions about things that are in the descriptions, people always ask like, what's the measurements, what's this, what's that, and we just have to sort of very nicely say it's in the description. And then you'd be surprised at how many people don't read the descriptions, they just flick through the photos. But I think it's quite good to try and cover yourself and try and photograph as much as you can, but write it in the description as well, so that if there is any issues after they've bought it, you can kind of say, look, I've put it in both the photos and the descriptions. And we always put on as well, if you have any questions at all in our list, like we write this in our listing, please ask, so that we're kind of covered from all angles. So this is our listing for one of our Chanel wallets. As you can see there, we've got all the different photos showing the different areas. And then, I don't know if you could see it very well, there we go. So here we've got the name of the wallet up the top. Try to put in as many keywords as possible. So I'll try and look up like the sort of style or the model of the exact item. So this one was called the Chanel Cambon, and it's a long wallet. And then I'll also try and put in other keyword names. So some people might call it a wallet, but some people might call it a purse. So I include that as well. And then obviously quilted, because it has the quilted effect on the actual item. And then I usually put in anything that sort of makes it a distinguishing feature. So for this one, the hot pink lining, that's something that makes it quite special. And then basically, I don't write big long sentences. I actually kind of almost do it as bullet points and just go through the important things about the item. So authentic Chanel, which I think if it's a designer piece is quite important to say, make it very clear that it's not a copy or a fake or anything like that. The condition of it, the style or the model. And then, as I said, the distinguishing features, so things like the large logo, the quilted outer, the hot pink lining, zip compartments, card slots. And then, this is really important, I always put in if there's any imperfections. So for this one, the zip pull is missing, so I'll make sure and include that, and I'll always make sure and put an image of any imperfections, and then I tell them in the listing where to find that image, so that I say, you know, if it's the first image, if it's the last image, so that you're making it really, really easy for people to see exactly what your item is like. And then I always usually try and put in measurements as well, so whether it's clothing or whether it's a bag or a wallet or something like that, I always put in measurements. And then down the bottom, we always put in a little disclosure kind of thing, basically saying that as our items are obviously second hand or they're vintage, that there, you know, there might be little imperfections that we've missed, but just to kind of keep that in mind. So one of the things that I think I'm also going to do for when we come to looking at photographing bags, which I think will be really handy, is I'm going to take pictures of me with it on. So like on my shoulder or holding it if it's like a clutch bag, or across my body if it's a crossbody bag. And I think that will be really good to help people visualise how it looks against a person's body and to see the scale of it, because even though you put the measurements in, sometimes it's quite hard for people to imagine what it looks like on or what it looks like in comparison to you. So I think definitely for handbags and things, putting them on and just kind of showing it against your body and somebody actually wearing it would be really handy as well. Just like if you have clothing, it's quite good to obviously photograph somebody with it on and say what size and what height they are, just so that they can see where it's hitting and what like length it is and things like that. So as I said, it's all about just giving your potential customers as much information as possible about your item, so that they're not, you know, they've not got questions, and it's not putting them off buying it. So I think that's one of the things that I think I've read somewhere, that one of the main things that stops people from buying is they don't know enough. Like they don't know enough about it. They can't maybe be bothered asking, so they just skip. They just sort of scroll on past, and they look for something that is easy for them to, you know, to read about, to look at the pictures and know exactly what it is, exactly that's what they want, and then they go ahead and buy it. So you kind of want to try and make it as easy as possible for your customers to know exactly what they're looking at, and obviously let them decide if it's something that they actually want to buy. So I think I'm going to wrap up this week's video here. So if you found this video useful or interesting, make sure and subscribe to our channel and press on the notification bell so you don't miss any upcoming videos about our reselling journey, and I will see you in our next one. Bye!